Okay, yep, it's not going away. Morning. I'm kind of gun shy. I bit my tongue like 10 times yesterday. Failed to detect your speaker. We're just gonna X out of that. And so now every time I talk, I think I'm gonna bite my tongue again. Like kind of scared. What is happening? Oh wait. Hey, it's showing what I have, so everything should be okay. We're gonna go get started. I think there's only like 8 problems on the homework. 8. There's not many at all. And I cover all of them in today's lesson. If you have questions, you could always ask me. It's going to be compound interest. Last time we did it, it was what? Simple interest. So it's A equals, what was simple interest? I equals PRT, right? This is compound interest. I'm trying to get this to go away. Oh, there we go. It's going to be 10.3. What was I saying earlier to myself? If I'm not mistaken, the week before spring break interest was week 8, which would make spring break week 9, which would make this week 10 out of 16 weeks. So we're like 63% done, 5/8, like it's almost over. Yeah, we have in 2 weeks we take sorry, my tongue. In 2 weeks we take exam 3, and then whenever we start that new material, we take exam 4, and then it's like the next week we take the final exam. So it's like we're like right at the end. And I can't see where this thing is, but if y'all need me to move up or down or whatever, just tell me, because I don't know what I did to the screen. Okay, so whenever we talk about compound interest, this is primarily going to come whenever you make like an investment. So I'm just going to kind of explain what an investment is. An investment is going to be whenever you using money or capital AL for income or profit. So these types of problems will either be you take some money to the bank and they're going to kind of use your money in a sense. So because of that, they pay you a small amount of interest for the length of time that they have your money. And if you have the ability to have a whole bunch of money and put it in a bank and wait a couple of years, you could basically cash out even that much more money. And it could either be you give the bank a lot of money and you wait to just collect that interest, or try to think, how do you do it? If you know you want a certain amount of money from the bank in so many years, we might even need to calculate how much principal would you need to start with. Okay. If it's not by Thursday, it'll for sure be by Tuesday. I'll have a whole page typed up of all the formulas we'll see and use in chapter 10 that everybody can use for the exam. Okay. Because there's a lot of them. Sorry, I'm going to turn that off. Keep wanting to read them. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and swipe this up. We're going to put right here compound interest formula. Compound interest formula. I don't want to sound like I'm not. What is that? What's the opposite of a pessimist? Yeah, I'm not really, I don't want to sound like I'm not an optimist, but I'm kind of being serious when I say if you do not have this calculator by the time we take the 3rd exam, which is in 2 weeks, you will not do well on this test no matter what, because the alternative to having this calculator that allows you to just literally input things as easily as possible would be a different calculator. And you would be doing a lot of the order of operations by yourself. If you do have a calculator and it is different than this, I might be able to show you how to like input things, but like when I talk about things in class, it'll be different. You know what I mean? So just know it's like 20 bucks on Amazon or in the bookstore. Okay, so here's our formula. Let me change to purple. Our formula for compound interest. What we have, so we're going to have a capital A equals, and it's like a capital P. And we're going to open the number 1, add to that. It's going to be a fraction, and it looks like R over N, close your parenthesis. And then now the exponent on that, like the parentheses, is going to be NT. And what this is saying is that A is actually supposed to be called like future value, or it's like the amount that's been accumulated in the end. And I'm going to write all of this out, okay? The P is your principal. The rate is going to be in decimal. The T is the time. Like we've seen all of those. The difference with compound interest is if I go to the bank and they say, hey, you give me X amount of money and I'll add 3% to that money if you keep it with me for a year, I'll add that 3% once, twice, well, these are the words, hold on, daily, weekly, monthly, quarterly, semi-annually, or annually. That's the N. It's actually the number of times that that interest is going to be compounded or added on to your money. Okay. And so this right here is so easy in here, but like in a TI, like, I don't know, 80 something calculator, there's a lot more buttons. Okay. So let's kind of like explain all of these. Our A is going to be future value accumulated. Huh? Oh, really? See, and there's like literally nothing I can do about it either. Maybe I should just really just completely reset this computer. I thought I did this morning, but I guess I didn't. Oh, I mean, barely. Our P is principal. Very similar to what it was last time. And I've been meaning to bring you a spiral. I will. Another like word or name or thing that we'll use that P for is also the amount invested. They won't tell you that it's your P in the formula that you will use, or that you'll need to solve for if you're looking for how much should you invest or anything like that. So I'm just kind of going a step further to be like, it can be used for any of those types of things right there. Our little r is our rate as a decimal. And what I'm saying is in our formula, whenever we type it into our calculator, we go to solve something, it needs to be our rate in a decimal. Remember, they give it to you in a percent, just move the decimal, put it in there in your calculator as a decimal. Okay, our T is time in years. And then our N, which is something that I know is new that we haven't seen, is going to be the number of compounds per year. I'm going to cover up the name right there. Number of compounds per year. And very similar to algebra in a way, it is a formula. It is going to be kind of like an equation that you set up. We have what, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 different things. Yeah. So what they're going to do is they're going to give you 4 of them. And that tells you the one that you don't have is the one you're solving for. There's going to be a variation to this formula because this is solved for how much do you have in your account in the future. I'm going to kind of rearrange things for you because if they ask you to solve for principal, obviously it wouldn't be like in that same setup. But the goal is just to know that you find 4 things and you solve for the 5th thing. Okay, so you're supposed to be able to like read a problem and you can like highlight, these are all of the things I need to know, write them all down in this way with the numbers and then plug them into your formula. I do need to tell you, I'm going to hide this right here, the different types of ends that we could have. I'm literally just going to write type of ends. Okay. I don't see this one often, but you know, it would be worth at least showing y'all. If they did say that they were going to be compounding interest onto your money daily, that would be awesome. But our N would be 360. I don't think we'll see that in this like 10.3 section though. We also have weekly. I don't know why I like to ask this question, but who knows how many weeks are in a year?
52.
Yeah. I've gotten some very strange answers. And I was like, I'm going to stop asking. I was like, no, you know what? It actually is interesting to ask sometimes.
I feel like it might sound-
Yeah, he's like, I know exactly how much I'm going to get paid. And then we have monthly.
It also depends on the job.
It does too.
Job can make it for like 18 years. Yeah, that's-
Or a day. We have quarterly. And I don't know why, but for some reason, this one seems to be like a confusing one for people. Quarterly, it's like, yeah, it's just, well, and you don't even have to think about it, there being 4 sets of 3 months, just quarterly, how much does it take to make $1.04? You think a quarter, you should think of 4, but you're saying it right. A quarter of a year is 3 months. But all you need to know as far as the formula is concerned, if it says quarterly, your N is 4. Okay, and then we have semi-annually.
What's the difference between semi-annually and biannually?
I feel like that broke Reddit the other day. So in my mind, it's like when I think of, I don't know why, I can't even explain it. But for some reason, when I think of semi, like I think of like the hemisphere and how it's like in 2 different pieces. So I just straight up say that it's like 2, it's half. And then bi also in my mind, like even when we did the biconditional, right? That arrow pointed in 2 directions. So it's like, I think it's the same. But your work could also tell you that you get paid bi-monthly on certain dates, or you get paid semi, it doesn't matter.
Biannually and semi-annually.
They should be in the exact same thing. You get paid biannually, so you get paid twice per year. It might, I don't know. It's like now it's semantics. Oh, exactly. But regardless, we don't have to care about that in 10.3.
Biannually 6 months, 6 months. Biannually 6 months, 6
What about annually?
12 months.
But as far as you're in, how many times is it going to compound? Right, every 12 months, which would be 1 time. Exactly.
We'll post that on Ask Reddit later.
I love Reddit. I go to it's very deep conspiracies and have so much fun. Okay, so
Why isn't this course mandatory for every kid that comes into the school?
it should be. I love to teach this more than any other class, and it's mainly because of the logic and the sets. From this point on, now it's consumer stuff.
But if every 18-year-old learn this. at
It's
18,
too easy from this point on. Oh, I know.
It would make it so much easier for those kids in the.
So A equals P open 1 plus R over N close, raise it to the NT power. This formula is set up for you to solve for how much is in your account in the end. The simple interest, I equals PRT, that doesn't give you what you invested or your principal and the interest. It only calculates the interest, right? This right here takes into account your interest and your principal and what's been added to it, and then like adds them up together. And then, hey, your A is your future value. So that's kind of the difference in the two, because a lot of people think they're the same, but they're not.
So there's like, say you're giving somebody a loan and you would
Yep.
only use this.
We've got, yep, and so, yeah, you were right. So let's go ahead. I've got, I think I just bit my tongue again. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. I've got 5 examples. I'm not lying. I think there's 8 problems on the homework, and I think 3 of them are like just kind of the easiest. You just kind of plug things in and compute it. The other ones kind of get a little bit more wordy, but every type of problem I think we do today. So everyone should be good as far as like getting the homework done and stuff. Okay, so example.
Is Microsoft,
7
whiteboard's gonna have 4.
Is there 7? So if I have 5 examples and there's 7 questions, then the easier, like, hey, just plug it in and tell me what this is. There's probably 2 of those. Like the first 2 will be that, and then the other ones will get a little bit more wordy. And y'all, in all honesty, you pay attention to the wording. I think I follow how they say it as close as possible, and I just change a couple of the numbers. So it should all look like just like your homework. But if you don't understand it, y'all just tell me. Okay. What does this one say? Well, compute future value and interest earned. This is future value, interest earned. This is future value, principal. Okay. So for this one right here, problem 1, what we're going to do is to compute the future value and the interest earned. Okay, and this is like kind of, that's like the directions, and then I'm going to write the problem because I think the directions change for each one just slightly. The actual problem itself, this is what it says. I'm a cover-up example. Okay. The actual problem itself says this. It says that $6,550 invested for 2 years at 5%. Sounds so weird. At 5% compounded semi-annually. So do you see how like how do you spell semi-annually? Why all of a sudden I just forgot. UALLY. That looks so weird. It's like the 2 N's for me. Okay. So they don't tell you what, y'all, that says semi-annually. Do you see how it's like blank now? It went from being black to now it's blank. Hopefully it fixes itself. And it's semi-annually. Okay, so what you do is on a piece of paper, you write down what is your A, what is your P, what is your T, what is your R, what is your N, in whatever order you want to, and then plug it into the formula, pick up your calculator. You can literally put everything into it the way you see it. And then just know that if you have A equals and what you saw for was the future value. If they want to know also what interest it was, I'm going to show you like another little bitty formula, because if you think about it, if I put all this information into this formula and I calculate the future value, if I subtract what I started with, that would show me the interest that I earned, right? So that's how you do these problems. So let me just change my other color that I love so much. We need to know what our A is, our P is, what R, our N, our T. What did A mean, future value? What is it telling me to compute? Future value. So what don't I know? Future value. P is your principal or your like amount invested, right? So, and right here, you don't need to have any type of like symbols or dollar signs or whatever. Like this is just like just the numerical values that I'm going to be putting into my calculator. Oh, my tongue. For our rate, they give it to us as, is it the 2 or the 5 or the annual rate? It'd be the percent, right? But I don't put 5% next to R. I need to put 5% as a decimal. Does anyone want to tell me what that is? Be very careful, because literally a lot of people, I'm not even lying, someone will do it, even though I'm telling you, please don't, because everything's broken from that point on. They will put 0.5. Okay, 5% is not 0.5. That's actually 50. Right. And so if that's hard for you though, do 5 and then divide it by 100. It moves the decimal for you and you see 0.05. Okay, that will be the biggest mess up on this exam. I guarantee it, is moving decimals. Okay, our N was the number of compounds. And so what?
Like 4 months, it would be 4, right?
So literally just use the word that we have right here. Just use that. You're doing the calculations in your head, but that's what the formula is already going to do for you. So don't even put that much thought into it.
Ricky, you're doing that.
But don't even do that though, because like that would be you like kind of doing more things by hand than needed. Right here, semi-annual, even though you can't really see the word semi, what number do we put next to that? 2. That's it. That's our N. You're trying to go a step further and being like, okay, then in this amount of years, how many times was it? No, that's why we have formulas and a calculator that's going to do it all for us. And then our T, that's our time in years. So that's right here, the 2 years, which is just 2. No. Because, hey, because it's time in years. How many years? 2. If it was like, hey, everything that you do when you compute this, you do your time in months, then it would be. But they said our time is in years, and the units of measurement of years, how many? 2. That's it.
So if it said 6550 invested for 24 months, then you would put in 24.
We would put two. Because it's still, our T and our formula is still going to be in terms of years. So if it did say 24 months, how many years is that? 2.
Okay.
Okay, yeah, just like stay in years. Stay in years. No, don't apologize. Never apologize. Okay, we know that we're computing the future value. Okay, so I'm just gonna kind of, and the interest earned, I'm gonna go up a little bit. So our formula is A equals P open 1 plus R over N close, raise it to the NT power, right? Now look to the left of my piece of paper and I notice that I don't know A. Awesome. I'm glad that that's the only thing on one side of the formula because that means that's what you're solving for and that's how we need it to be set up. T6550 open 1, and y'all in a formula, if you see a negative, it's fixed, it never goes away. And if you ever see a number, that number also is always going to be what you see. Okay. Then we have a positive. I have a fraction. My R is my rate, which is 0.05. My N, which is the denominator of this little fraction, is 2. And then I close it. And then I raise it to the NT power, N and T. That's gonna be 2 and 2. Some of them, it's easy, you put 4. If you can do 12 times 5 and you do what, you can do that. But if the numbers get big, because sometimes they might, just put both of them in your calculator. Don't try to do that math first. 2 times 2. I know it's 4, but I'm just saying, like, that's continuity, that's writing everything. Now, grab your calculator. Yes, yeah.
Is the 1
Always. Yeah. Well, in formulas, like if you have a negative, it's fixed. It's a positive means it can be either, but a negative is literally telling you like, hey, this has to be this way. A 1, a 2, like in the quadratic formula, you have the 4 minus A, or minus 4AC. That 4 never changes. That 4 is always a 4. So formulas, numbers, and negatives are fixed. Okay, so you turn on your calculator. You hit clear a couple of times because they have memories and they hold things against you. All right, and I'm gonna do 6550 above the number 8. That's how I open my parenthesis. I literally type the number 1. Okay, right-hand side, those are your operations. I'm gonna touch the plus sign. And then the number 7, 1, 2, 3 buttons up. Do you see N over D? That's numerator over denominator. When you touch that, it's gonna create a little bitty fraction. Awesome, what do? 0.05, use your cursor to go down. And then you do 2. No, it's okay. Look at where are you at right now? 6550 open, 1 plus, and then there's a little bitty button. It says N over D. And that right here, this button is going to be what saves us in this like section in this class. Okay. Now I did my 0.05 in the top. I did my cursor. I went down. I entered a 2. I'm still blinking in the denominator of that little fraction. So I need to do my cursor to the right to scooch. Close, which is the parenthesis above number 9. And then there's a symbol in math. It looks like an upside down V. It's called a caret. It's going to be actually to the left of your 7 and then up 1, right above x squared. Okay, if you push that, what that does is that grabs that blinking cursor and it pulls it up into the exponential field. And now I'm blinking in that like exponent area of the parentheses, which was what? N times T, which is 2 times 2. It literally type 4. We all know 2 times 2 is 4. But if the numbers are bigger than that, don't try to guess. Okay.
So we would just put 2 and then hit times and then 2.
Mhm.
Just to-
You could do 2 open, 2 close. TBH, if it's at the very, very end, you don't have to close it. Or you can do 2 multiplicative symbol 2. Either way. Everyone should be looking at 7229 and 97 cents.
Would you do 27 or 7230?
No. So to my knowledge, the homework will always tell you where to round. I mean, just pay attention to that. What I did is I rounded to the nearest hundredths because it's like I'm dealing with money and there was change. If it says round to the nearest whole dollar, then yes. But pay attention to it because I think it has you keep your change. Okay, so what I just now discovered was the future value of this account after I invested $6,550 for 2 years at a 5% like compounded interest that they gave to me twice a year. The amount that I can withdraw at the end of 2 years, right, in the future was 7229 and 97 cents. We're just gonna say we rounded it to the nearest like the change. Okay, that right there answers what the future value is, right? This is the answer for the first part. it said to also compute or like to solve for the interest earned. I want to say it should be obvious that if this is the future amount, wouldn't it make sense to just subtract what I started with and that tells me what the bank gave me? But that's not obvious. Okay, so I'm going to show you that there is a little formula that you could use to see that. Okay. I have to write two things here. I'm going to cover this up. Y'all should have this because there's actually two things that I need to show you. Okay, if you take the future value of what you have in an account, you could say that it is equal to what you put into the account and what the bank paid you in interest, right? So using that same little bitty baby formula right there, if I take what is in my bank at the end of 2 years and I subtract what I gave the bank initially, what I'll have solved for is the interest, okay? Or literally, this is what I've always told my students to do. Do you know how we just solved this for A? And in my calculator, I have 7229.97. Whenever they say, also tell me the interest that you earned, just go minus 6550, enter. That's your interest. If like kind of understanding or like looking at a new little different formula is too confusing, that one's kind of moot. If you use it, it's fine. If you don't, whatever. It's the other ones that are bigger that matter. But interest earned, take out your principal from your future. And that gives you what the bank literally paid you for giving them your money for 2 years.
Or what was that H?
The who?
Or the N or the H, whatever that is.
Oh, right here in, I think we had done it right before you walked in. It's a number of compounds per year. No, we were talking about semi-annually whenever you walked in,
Okay.
right here. And it's like you have all these different ones because a bank could tell you, hey, every single day, listen, you're a millionaire and you're gonna let me hold that much money and use that much money every day. I'll give you some money for keeping that money. We're probably not gonna get a deal like that. They're gonna only give us, a little bit of interest once a year or twice a year, even quarterly, but it's like gonna change within each problem. And so whenever we actually read this problem and it said semi-annually, all I did was look back at my formula sheet and I'm like, boom, that's 2. That's it. My N's do look like H's a lot though. So what I computed was the future, right? So if I take my future value and I subtract what I initially gave the bank, what I will have like computed is the interest earned. So I do 7229.97, subtract 6550. What you get is 67997. I'm sorry, 7997. Okay, so future value, 722,997. Interest, 67997. Okay, and I think this is the one where you're just kind of plugging things in, and it's like the easier of the questions. And so there might be 2 of these. And then now let's see the other types of questions. Yeah, I wouldn't take that deal. I wouldn't take that deal at all. I would want something compounded more often, and probably higher than 5%. Okay. Example 2. Let me just see. Future value, future value. For 2 and 3, all we're computing is just the future value. They don't make you go a step further. And find the interest. Y'all do need to know how to do that, but for these next 2, compute the future value. Example 2. I'm gonna die today on this heat. You receive. Oh, I want to change this to purple, just so my notes look better than they usually do. Okay, so you receive an inheritance of $17,000,
That's not enough to make me accurate.
right? No, it's funny though, because y'all, whenever you do see this next exam, you're gonna see like all 6 of my children's name. Like Kaden received an inheritance, and like Cameron's putting wedding in the bank, and Evangeline does this and that. So actually, it's funny. I have like no creativity when it comes to examples. Okay, so you receive this inheritance of $17,000, period. Okay, you invest in a, and these are the good type of problems and the good things to move forward with and remember in life. You invest in a 21-year CD, and it's just like a capital C and a capital D. It's called a certificate of deposit. And it's just a way to earn money on money. Okay, that pays 8% interest compounded monthly. To be completely honest, this is probably just a complete made up fairy tale example though. Yeah, that's a lot. That's a lot amount. That's a lot of interest often. Oh, I bet. But like, listen, like my thing too is it's like, if y'all could see that it's like 8% of $17,000 is going to be added to your money every single month for 21 freaking years. And then you do the math and you just now found out your future amount's $900. You're like, hold on, how did I lose money? People will still answer that way. It's like, pay it. I hate to say this, but like the answer is in the question. Okay, like you could really be like, okay, hold on, this is going to be like a big amount of money. Okay, compounded monthly. Okay, I'm going to cover up compute the future value. Okay, how much will you redeem in 21 years? This is what it is. It's just not as fun as Sex and Logic. How much will you redeem? I can see the delay really bad now in my writing in 21 years. What I'm going to assume is unfortunately someone passed away, left you some money. You're still fairly young. You've taken a contemporary math class before, and you remember that if you actually put this money somewhere for a long period of time, you could cash out. Okay, just forget it's there. Okay.
Literally, just live how you were living.
Yeah, forget it's there. I am gonna have to swipe up, so I need to know that everybody does gotta have
Do that. Yeah, just
it
put
written.
like $300 under a can of stew.
and just leave it. Okay, y'all have it in front of you. I'm gonna kind of start writing things down. Okay, so I know that the items of interest, the formula that we have to compute the future value of things is A, and we have a P, we have an R, we have an N, and we have a T. Okay, and so whenever I kind of read through this and it's like telling me stuff, it's letting me know that I did invest something. That'd be a P. I see a time, I see a percent, and I see an N. At the very, very end where it says, how much will you redeem in 21 years? You're supposed to understand that that's asking you, what's the future value in 21 years, right? Because literally 21 years is in the future. So what I don't know that I'm computing is my A. My P is the amount that you initially invest, also known as your principal, which was that $17,000. Right here. And then what did I write next? Was it an N? My R. The next thing well, just in the way I arrange the letters, I don't ever do them the exact same way all the time, so don't think you have to. Right here, it says 8%, but 8% as a decimal is 0.08. I totally just drew over it because all I care about is the 0.08. Okay, that is my rate. My N is the number of compounds, and this said it's supposed to be compounded monthly, sorry. Monthly, there are 12 months in a year. And I invested in a 21-year CD. Just like that. A equals P open 1 plus R over N close raised to the NT power. I do not know my A. I am solving for A, so I write A equals principal 17,000. Sometimes too, like pay attention to your calculator because there'll be a problem like this and someone will use like 1,700. Like they just accidentally leave off 1 0. That's what I mean by in the end, like it should make sense, but like double check what you input to your calculator, clear it after you get an answer and do it again. See if you get the exact same answer again. Okay, this is only as smart as like what you tell it to do. Then we have 1 plus fraction rate 0.08 n is the number of compounds and it was monthly, which is 12. Close. I don't know. Did you use
Yeah, I
it?
did the math.
Raised to the nt power. So 12 times 21. So here, obviously, I wouldn't say, hey, do 12 and 21 in your head. Actually put that in your calculator. And then everybody follow me. I have to turn my calculator back on. I hit clear because I don't want it to hold anything against me from the past. 17000 open. 1 plus n over d. 0.08 go down. 1, 2 scoot over to your right. You have to close right here. If you accidentally leave that off, it throws everything off. So just be careful with that. And then you do your caret. A lot of people won't caret here. They'll just multiply it to the 12 times 21. You have to push this button to make sure you're in the exponent. Okay. And then 1, 2, open 2, 1. That's how I would do it. Because I do open close with parentheses more than I do the multiplication symbol. Everyone should see that in 21 years, you are going to have, and we're just going to assume that everything wants us to round it to the hundreds place, which is normal because it's money. I don't think it would say whole dollar. Hey, you have $90,000. I'm sorry, $90,707.32. If you don't have this calculator, y'all, you have to do the 12 and the 21, right? Then you would need to do the fraction. Then you would need to add it to the 1 before you could probably go ahead and raise it to whatever power 12 times 21 is. And then, I mean, it's doable, but there's so much thought and effort. And like, if you mess up that order, like you're not going to get the right answer. So just keep that in mind. Okay, let's do another one. It's literally the exact same problem. Hold on, I'm reading something. I'm still solving for A, P. I don't think you're going to see that. Like this one, this also from like 3 years ago when I taught this class. This one says 18 months, so you end up doing 1.5, but I don't think you see one like that. So I'm just going to go into the problem. And I open the homework for y'all leave. Okay, for this problem. The laptop is hot, there's no air. Okay, ready? Okay. Okay. Solve for principal of a compound interest problem. Okay, so we have A equals P, open 1 plus, blah, 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 right? And it's solved for A, which means you're solving for the future value of once you put money into it, this is how much money there's going to be in the end. If it wants you to solve for the principal, and I'll read the problem obviously, but it'll be like, you want to save for a certain amount of money, right? And you have the ability to like have some money, leave it in there for a while. But you want to reach like X amount because you want to buy, this one's like a vehicle, right? So instead of seeing what it's going to be in the end, what you're trying to solve for is how much do I need to start this investment with so that in the end, I have what I want, okay? So instead of making you all have to plug things in and then move things around, I just went ahead and it makes sense for me just to have this solved for you. It is the exact same formula that we've been using, but this is how we would have it solved for principal. Just like, do you remember when we did simple interest? I solved it for P, I solved it for R, I solved it for T. I'm literally trying to keep you from having to do algebra, right? Do you notice how it's the exact same like components? They're just rearranged. This is how we would set something up. If it asks you, hey, how much should you invest? Right? How much do you need if this is what you want at the end of this CD, or if this is what you want at the end of whatever it is? Okay. So I can keep that there, but then let's go and do this, this third problem. Was it 3? I don't even know. Is it third problem? Yes. Okay, thank you. Okay. Okay, so to purchase. A vehicle. Oh, let's make it like this, because of the way this one's worded. Let's say like, hey, you're fixing to have a baby and in 18 years, you want to purchase a car for them. Like, that's kind of how like these would work, right? So to purchase a vehicle in 18 years, or if you're my kids, you're like 19 before you get a car. You need $14,000. And yes, I know you're not going to get anything good for $14,000, Peter. You're like $80,000. I'm like literally paying for Caden's car. He wants to take over the Charger payments. I'm like, please. To purchase a vehicle in 18 years, you need $14,000, period. We want to go and try to see if we can get it like just in his name, but we don't know. It has to get out of our name though, because we already have too much stuff under our name. I have so many kids and I make more than I spend. So yeah, no, wait, I spend more than I make. Yeah. I don't listen to myself whenever I teach this math. No, I'm just kidding. Okay. If a CD pays, I don't know why this one's it shouldn't even be like that, to be honest. I don't even want to use that one. We're going to use our own. Somebody give me a percent. Boom. How both y'all said 12. I don't know. We're literally like doing something completely different. This one was like 2.03. I don't think y'all see anything like that on the homework. If we do, you literally just move the decimal though, okay? We're going to say this pays 12%. Compounded, I'm going to smush it. Compounded. I didn't do a very good job smushing it. Quarterly. Comma. How much should you invest? I like keep writing even though I can't see what I just wrote and it's really killing me. Okay. The components, like I said, are the exact same in this different variation of a compound interest formula. The only difference is that it's all for P and not A. I still need A, P, R, N, T. Right? I still need the same things. So we changed to my blue. And we have A, P, R, running out of room. I'm going to scoot over a little, N, T. Okay, I know that this one right here isn't asking me how much will be in your account at the end of what, 18 years, right? That's asking you about the future. It's saying that you want a certain amount of money in 18 years, but how much should you do right now? That's your investment, that's your principal. So my question mark doesn't go next to A, it goes next to P. My A is the future amount, which I'm only saying I need $14,000, which is not a lot at all. My R is my rate. 12% as a rate is 0.12. Okay, so we had 14, we have 12. My N is the number of compounds yearly, quarterly, or time in years, 18 years. And then I know I already have it written right there, but let me just kind of do it again right here. Okay, to solve for principal, what we do is we're actually going to have the future value in the numerator. And then we're going to have a denominator that is open 1 plus R over N closed to the NT power. And I'm going to have to hide a lot kind of to about there. Okay, so let's plug things in. So I have P equals fraction. Always start with the fraction. My future value is 14000. In the denominator, I have open 1 plus fraction 0.12 over 4 close, raise it to the 4 times 18 power. And then let's talk about how to do this one.
Can't wait to go home later and open up this Microsoft Whiteboard.
Yeah. Okay, so I turn my calculator on because these turn off. I can't talk about my tongue. These turn off often and I just always hit clear. Okay, so if you notice, whenever I started like plugging things in with my hand or whatever, like writing it, I said always start with a fraction. In your calculator, we're gonna do a formula later that's gonna have a lot in the numerator. And then you need to do like the denominator. But if you don't do that N over D button first, it's gonna put some things up top and some things not, and it's gonna throw everything off. So if you notice that what you're plugging in is a big, huge fraction, you start with N over D. That way you create that big, huge fraction. It's gonna end up, growing as the more we type. But I should be blinking in the numerator, 14000. Count your zeros, make sure you do enough, go down. Open 1 plus N over D. 0.12, go down 4, scoot over. You have to close it here. Which is the button above your 9. And then do your caret to be in the exponent and do 4 times 18. I do 4 open, 1 8 close. It's however you want to. But whenever you hit, that's awesome. Whenever you hit enter, what it's telling me that I should invest right now, sorry, the delay, is $1,666.66. Is it not? Here, come here. It does not take me long at all to see whatever button was in there wrong. I just know what people mess up with often. That's what I say. Okay, you didn't raise it to a caret.
Yep, I
You
just saw
can,
that.
you can do it and you could grab it. You could scoot. Go to like the first, start deleting. Right? Caret it.
Yeah, I saw that. Just said I handed it to you.
Mm-hmm. Does that make sense, y'all? I mean, we're literally being given the formulas and we have this amazing calculator that really, really, really helps us solve a lot of things. We have one more problem to do because I know it's like the last problem on the homework. Honestly, we shouldn't have to do it because you should just be able to see which one pays you more, but why not? We'll go ahead and do it and then I'll open up the homework and just kind of look at it real quick, make sure I didn't leave anything off. Oh, okay. Like directions. Which earns more interest? Maybe it's probably a good thing we do this because it is going to use like the formula that we learned in 10.2 and then what we learned today. So it's not all just today. So we're good. Which earns more interest? I'm just going to say that right there. Okay. And then we have simple interest on, I had to count my zeros. That's $100,000. Yes. For 2 years at 3%. Period. Or compound interest. On the same $100,000. Technically, you're shopping around, you're going to different banks and they're giving you all these different deals because they want your money. The longer you leave it there, the longer they can use it. That's why they pay you. Okay, on $100,000 for 2 years at 3% compounded quarterly. In all honesty, I would believe that the majority of people could just read this and know which one. Mainly because the more interest is being compounded, the more money you'll have in the end. But instead of the homework being like, oh, just pick, it actually wants like the dollar amount. I know. So it's probably gonna want compute simple interest. And you're like, oh, this is how much. And the thing with here is it's because when you do, you're gonna see it. But whenever we do the simple interest, my answer is what? I equals, what's that? My interest. That's your answer for that interest earned. When you do A equals P, blah, 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 you're solving for future value. You have to subtract your principal to then see your interest. And I think maybe they're just wanting you to work with a formula. But yeah, you're gonna end up noticing like, one's gonna have more than the other. Okay, so let's do this. I'm trying to follow what I got going on here. I kind of like split it in half. I did I equals PRT over here, and then this one over here. I did like that. On the left-hand side, please don't close. My simple interest formula is I equals PRT. Or compound interest on 100,000 2 years compounded quarterly. That is just going to be my compound interest formula. Whenever I look, I notice for my simple interest formula, my P, which would be my principal, is going to be this $100,000. I'm solving for I, so I have I equals 1, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And then times my rate, which is 3%. So that's open 0.03, close, open. 2 years is just 2 close. I grab my calculator and I do 100,000 times 0.03 times 2. So if a bank is like, hey, we'll give you simple interest, it is the difference that compound interest is given to you more often and at different intervals, whereas simple interest is just simple, right? The simpler formula, simpler math, that's how much you're going to earn. Over here, I still have the same thing. I have the same P, I have the same T, I have the same R, and then my N, which is different in this formula, is going to be that I have quarterly, which is going to equal 4. A equals 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Open 1 plus 0.03 over 4. 4, there we go. Close 4 times 2. And so I grab my calculator, I clear it. I do 1, 0, 0, 0, 0, 0. Open 1 plus N over D, 0.03. Use your cursor to go down, type 4, scoot over, do the caret, Peter, and do 4 times 2. Everyone should get, it looks like 1061.59. I know our read number's weird, sorry, but 1061.59 and 88 cents. CC? No. 1, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Open 1 plus N over D, 0.03 down 4 over close caret 8. 1061.59 and 88.
61.59.
Yeah, so $106,159.88. I always take out like the names, like the thousandths and the this and the that, and I just say the numbers. So this is what this isn't the amount of interest I just earned. This is A equals, and A equals is the future amount. So it's saying that I'm gonna end up having, I'll be confused, what?
As the, how it goes from being like, I guess, 106,000 being $106,159.88.
Because simple interest is kind of in a way only given to you one time. Do you see how it says for 2 years at 3%? So as soon as that like investment like becomes mature and you go to get your money out, that's when you earn your interest, right then and there. And then whenever you compound something, you're literally like doing it over and over and over again. So they don't wait until the 2 years to give you that one amount of interest. For 2 years, every 3 months, right? Because it's quarterly, every 3 months, you're getting 3% added for the whole length of the loan. And so what it just told me here was at the end, I would have $6,159.88 more than what I invested, right? So it actually ends up being $159.88 more than simple interest. And it's literally just because it just compounding literally means like you just keep piling things on. right? So they just keep giving it to you. Simple's like, hey, give me my money back. Okay, hold on, let me add your interest. There you go. You know, so the longer they have it, and if it's compounded, it's gonna always give you more. I don't want to say will always give you more money, because they could give you a problem on the homework where the numbers aren't as closely related as these are. And you actually could have seen that this is going to be better. I don't see that happening very often, but just you have to do the math and see. So here, because my future is 106, 159, and 88, I know that if I take the future value, because I'm doing compound interest, and I subtract what I started with, what I'll get is the interest. And so if I do 106, 159, and 88, and I subtract the original investment, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, what I get is 6, 1, 5, 9, and 88. That's the actual interest. Okay, the interest on doing it on a compound interest is 6, 1, 5, 9, 8, 8, which I notice is, let me see, let me write it down right here. I'm gonna do it in purple. Okay. I'm about done with this delay. I'm not even gonna straighten up my handwriting. I'm just gonna keep writing. Okay, compound interest earned $159.88 more than simple. And I hope y'all see this right here. This is the future value. This is what that compound interest formula gave me, right? This is me subtracting the initial investment of $100,000. And then what I end up getting at the end is the interest that was earned using a compound interest formula. And then whenever I look at what was earned here and what was earned here, I could see that one is greater than the other. And that's compound interest. Okay, let me open our homework. I need to share the screen that shows you everything. I guess this one. Gracie. Right here. I don't even know what that study plan is. Seven problems. $1,000, 3 years, 5% compounded annually. What's the amount in the account? 2, 3, open 1 plus N over D, 0.05 down 2 over close 236. I did a Peter. That sounded weird. I need to do caret 6. Should be 1159.69. The amount in the account afterwards. Boom, good job. But you see what I mean? Like, I see the formula in my head. I've been doing this for years, but it's like, you literally would just identify everything and put it. So the interest earned, was what, 159.69? Because that's what the difference is from what you originally invested. Okay, so that's one of the ones where it's like, you're just using the formula. Question 2, same thing. You're just using the formula. So that's like our question 1, okay? And then question 3, oh, you're just using the formula. Oh, this one says compounded daily. Excuse me. It even tells you though to use N equals 360. So your P is the 5500, your T is the 3, your R is the 0.06, and then your N is 360. You just use exactly what they tell you to here. And it might actually want you to also show the interest, which means there's 3, just like it. Marcus receives an inheritance. He decides to invest it. 2% compounded monthly. How much money will be in the end of 13 years? We did that. Adam wishes to have $23,000 available in 22 years to purchase a car for his kid. 1.91 interest compounded semi-annually. So only thing that changes are names and numbers. Jane Rosnowski wants to invest some money now to buy a tractor. She wants 325 to be the future value. And she wants to be able to have that available in 7 years. How much should she invest now? So that's when you're trying to solve for the P. So you just move the formula around the way I showed you and then put those values in. You are given the choice of taking simple interest, what? Y'all. You're given the choice of taking simple interest on $100,000 invested at 2 years at 3%. Or, hold on, or the interest on $100,000, 2 years, 3% compounded quarterly. I mean, I may have just completely verbatim this problem. You're welcome. That's it. That's all I got for y'all. Y'all free to go. Unless you have questions, obviously. Remember, 2 weeks.